last week and used that uptown, we turned this city around overnight.
Not only overnight, but look, sometimes it's. I've been going through this for years.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes it's just sickening. It's sickening because sometimes I believe that we become cowards.
That's right.
Any group of people that will allow
right
anybody to mess with their children.
That's right.
To treat their children this way.
Close their wrecks. Close their schools.
Close your wrecks.
Right?
Close your schools.
Yes.
I mean, just arrest you for anything.
That's right.
Put black marks on your record.
That's right.
I mean, and just look at downtown.
Yes, sir.
They geared up like they were going to war.
Right.
They had all these officers out there.
Yes.
They were expecting to go to war.
That's
Why?
right.
These are children.
These are babies.
I have a sign up in juvenile booking.
Yes.
And that sign is for everybody that walk through there. And the sign basically says this: never forget you're dealing with children.
Right.
Because sometimes I think we tend to forget that.
That's
they
right.
may be big. They may be a whole lot of different things. But they don't have any models.
That's right.
That's in their lives right now. So,
yes,
this can be turned around overnight.
Right.
But the bigger picture is that, do we really want to do it?
That's right.
And it's these politicians or politicians or whatever they want to call themselves,
right.
They're not actively involved.
That's right. Yes.
And death is undefeated.
That's right.
So we're talking about all the murders and the shootings.
Yes.
You haven't seen anything yet.
That's right.
Yes,
sir.
And I don't care how many promotions, I don't care how many shakeups you get.
Right.
Until you get out there with that community.
Yes, sir.
Until you become part of that community and you really start caring about your fellow man or fellow sisters out here.
That's right.
This is going to continue to happen.
Yes, sir. Again, family, just tuning in. That was, of course, Sergeant Lou Hobson. Let me come back to you, Dr. Powers, as we're looking at this issue of crime and violence in the city of Baltimore. And after this police commissioner came in, of course, cleaned house with a lot of the, I'd say, black veterans and experienced officers that were, and then it started under Billfield when there was just a kind of a house cleaning of good officers down there, some forced into retirement, some forced out, and picked over as far as being qualified to run this department. So it literally says to the blacks in this city, no matter how much schooling you get, how much education you get, we'll take a third generation white guy in Billfield and promote him. We'll take and go and get somebody from outside of the city of Baltimore, and then looking at even we got a 90% of the officers that do not live in the city of Baltimore. And I'm talking to officers saying even when they're looking for these commanders, even the black ones such as Russell don't live in Baltimore. I understand he live in Delaware. So they say it's like going in a restaurant and you asking a manager, can you offer me up something on the menu? Can you recommend something on the menu? And then the manager or the chef says, well, I don't even eat in this restaurant. So, I mean, if you're not willing to put an investment in, you understand?
Exactly.
So let me come to Dr. Powers, get his thoughts and comments on this as we're talking about, again, the issues of public safety and policing in the city of Baltimore.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things here, and I think that we always want to be critically analytical with them in the sense of this. When bats came into this town, and this is what happens consistently when we get police commissioners, they surround themselves with people who don't have their best interests at heart.
That's right.
Or they listen to the advice or consult with people who don't have their best interests at heart.
Yes.
Now, I know Bats is out in the community now, and he's giving speeches and presentations and all, but the reality of the matter is anyone taking a position as commissioner of this police department have to do a complete examination of his history, the people around it, the human terrain of the city, the problems that the city exists, and then you bring in the people. And I would suggest that in a majority African-American city, they should be majority African-American because I believe that we are highly qualified to handle these particular positions that help you towards your mission. Right. Now, during the course of that, you are going to have to get rid of some people. Right. And no doubt about it, there are people in this department who are high-ranking, black and white, but black, who have sat there and allow the department to do things that it should not have done. We saw Neil Franklin removed because he tried to speak up with integrity.
That's right.
And he was removed from the department. So there has to be some house cleaning.
Right.
But that house cleaning has to be based on putting people in positions of power and prominence that can help you achieve your mission. Yeah. I would suggest to the commissioner that his best friend is not in the city hall.
That's right.
Because the reality of the matter is her objective is to empower herself. Right. Somebody's got to say it. I mean, I don't care if she's your best friend and you actually like the way she dressed, you like her makeover, you like her makeup. Right. That's not the point. The point is to dramatically reduce crime and dramatically increase the life chances of children by saving lives. You mentioned, Sergeant Hobson mentioned,
Right.
others have mentioned the fact that we need to create employment opportunity and jobs for these young people.
Yes.
You've got the Hilton Hotel. You can train those young people on how to be hotel managers.
That's right.
And that's management positions that will go with them, whether they stay in Baltimore or wherever. They could go in Paris and manage a hotel.
That's right.
If we take advantage of a hotel which only had 50 to 60% occupancy anyway,
That's
so there are
right.
plenty of training rooms down there.
That's right.
Because it's half empty. We can teach them how to run the fitness center in a
Yes.
hotel,
That's
because there are
right.
hotels everywhere. I'll never forget this. I'll never forget meeting with Marion Barry over in Washington, D.C., and he was giving young people the
Right.
positions of cleaning the welcome mats in hotels, because he said that's a multi-million-dollar contract down the road.
That's
If
right.
you clean the sheets,
Right.
if you can understand how the laundry business run in a motel
Right.
with sheets and pillowcases, that's
Right.
a multi-million-dollar business that you can open up down the road. Because Marriott, all those other corporations need
Right.
people to do all of that work. But not only to be workers, but to be managers.
Right.
Here's an opportunity in a hotel owned by the city.
Yes.
You don't even need an executive order.
Nope.
You can just order as mayor
Right.
that these young people will be trained in hospitality, and they will be trained in the hotel that we run. You could go to Peter Angelo's and say, I want them to know how to do stadium management
Right.
at M&T Bank Stadium or at Camden
Camden
Yards.
Yards. That's right.
These are positions. This is not hard. This is
Right.
not executive orders. This is not forcing private businesses to do this. This is what you have in the power of that office. But
Right.
what she banks on,
Right.
and what every mayor had banked on, is the ignorance of the citizens of Baltimore to not know that the mayor had that power.
That's right.
Kurt Smoke was mayor of this city, and the way he would get people to do things is to hand out tickets to a baseball, because he did not understand power.
That's right.
Kwame Nkrumah in Africa said that it boils down to this: if black people are ever to change their condition, they must understand power and leadership, because it boils down to leadership. Doesn't matter whether you like Dr. Bunley or not when he's running for mayor. Is he the best person
That's
to
right.
get your child employed, trained, and reduce crime dramatically in the city? Doesn't matter whether I like the personality of a brother Darren Muhammad. You're not dating him. You're not sleeping with him. He doesn't care whether you eat or dine with him.
right.
Hell, we had the Last Supper. Judas dined with Jesus. It doesn't matter who you dine with, it's who's in the best position to move our agenda along. Until we change our thinking along, till we go to the mayor and say, what about that 60% occupancy? Can't we train our children to
That's
be
right.
managers? Can't they run the fitness center?
Yes.
Can they not get positions where they learn to be not only jobs, but they learn to be managers? Don't
Managers.
tell me
That's right.
jobs are not here. The
Yeah.
man, Carl Stokes, they're ready to remove him from
Right.
head of a
That's
committee.
right, right.
They've
Budget and
requested-
taxation.
They've
That's right.
requested
That's right.
that the city council president
Jack
remove
Young.
him from that position
Right.
because of his advocacy
Yes.
on other things. Now, we may say here, we may come and say, well, he shouldn't apologize. He shouldn't.
Right.
He may. The fact of the matter, if you want him to be strong on everything, be strong with him.
That's right.
Go tell him
Be
that
down
she
there
better
tonight.
not remove
That's
him
right.
from that
That's
committee.
right.
And
That's
if she
right.
does, it's going to be hell to pay in Baltimore. It's going to be a hot town in Baltimore. These are the kind of things that we can do. And these are the kind of things that would dramatically reduce crime. And let me add this.
Yes.
This does not mean you're soft on crime.
That's
Those
right.
brothers and sisters, white, black, whatever color they are, who are out harming our people,
Right.
who are putting out seniors in fear, they've got to be arrested.
That's right.
Their development have to be arrested one way or the other.
That's right.
Whether we send them to central booking or
right.
send them to some other central location.
That's right.
We cannot allow them to make our grandmothers, our mothers,
Yes.
our daughters. We won't allow for Brother Darren Muhammad's daughter to be
That's
raped
right.
in this city.
That's right,
and if
brother.
you do that, there are
right.
consequences and repercussions for that. But we want to stop the trend
Right.
of young people moving in that direction, because
That's
we
right.
know they do not come out of the womb wanting to rape their sister.
That's
We know
right.
they do not come out of the womb wanting to drop out of school.
Right.
We do know they do not come out of the womb wanting to be unemployed or drive-by shooters or to commit shootings in West Baltimore or in East Baltimore.
Right.
We know they don't come out of the womb wanting to be Uncle Toms in the police department and in the
right.
school system. Because let's face it, Brother Darren
Yes.
Muhammad,
Yes.
if teachers and if
Right.
the teachers union did their job,
Right.
then our young people would be getting properly educated. I don't give a damn what the states say about curriculum. We
right.
would say education is elevating people to change their condition and direction, not just making them so they can pass the state examination.
That's right.
So there's a solution for all of us in this, but don't sleep on the fact that the mayor have to have an executive order. She can just order it.
That's right. She
Not
can
an
just order.
executive order.
That's right.
She's ordered some stuff in this city
Yes.
without an executive. They've held secret meetings.
That's right.
Backdoor meetings.
That's right.
We know how
Yeah.
power works, but
That's
until
right.
we understand leadership, politics, and power,
Yes.
as Perrin Mitchell said, I was once
That's
in a
right.
meeting with him. I was shut down with this, and he and somebody in the meeting, he told them what they were going to do about getting jobs over in East Baltimore. And one of the people, the delegates in the meeting, said, "Well, Congressman, I don't know." He said, "I didn't ask for your opinion. I asked you to do this, or you will not be in office next time. I didn't ask you to raise
That's
your
right.
hand
That's right.
and tell me." I said, "These young people will have jobs by this date,
That's right.
or you will not be in office. Don't raise your. This is not a conversation.
Right.
This is a mandate. That's
right.
what Black Power does.
Mandate.
That's the reason for us to
Mandate.
being in politics.
That's right.
And that's what the mayor can do. Mandate
That's
that
right.
these young people be hired.
Not have a job fair, but make sure they get a job, get a fair job.
That's
Damn, a job
that's
fair.
what Congressman.
That's what Congressman
Cummings can do.
Right.
He
That's
can
what Cummings
mandate,
can do. He can mandate.
make demands.
Right.
If power concedes nothing without demand. The words of Frederick Douglass. He didn't
Right.
say power concedes nothing without request
Right.
or without executive orders.
Yes.
He said power concedes nothing without demand. It never has, and it never will. You've
right.
got to demand it from those political positions. And we put people in that mayor's office
Right.
who do nothing but request
That's
or
right.
convince us
Right.
that they don't have the power. Trust
right.
me, they have the power, or we have the power to remove them.
That's right.
In one way or another.
That's right. Again, family, just tuning in, that was Dr. Tyrone Powers. As Dr. King said, that there has to be a redistribution of the wealth, but there cannot be a redistribution of the wealth unless there's some redistribution of power and redistribution of pressure in the city of Baltimore. And right now, all the pressure's uptown, and we're not putting pressure downtown where the pressure needs to be placed. Sarge, talk about what we're looking at now with the police department saying that, of course, they had some stability, but nothing could be further from the truth when we see this shakeup now from Commissioner Batts in terms of the top ranks in front page of the Sun paper. And this is following a shooting yesterday, but following weeks of shooting, following the beginning of a violent year, that because we live in a violent city, a violent state, a violent country, and a violent world right now. But talk about this shakeup. And some of the names that I haven't seen mentioned was John Skinner, who they moved from being over patrols to now over intelligence. And I understand he may be on his way out the door to Anne Arundel County. But talk about this shakeup and how we're looking at now young, probably colonels and young commanders ascending to these positions, and how, again, all of that creates instability within the department and instability and stabilizing the communities. Because then once you get used to somebody, now Delgado's gone. Now Sabrina Tapp Harper and others have been removed. So then what does that say to the citizens uptown regarding, again, what's going on downtown? If you saw this inside of the Orioles dugout or inside of the Orioles organization, you would know there's some serious problems going on right now. So thoughts and comments on this shakeup?
Yeah, Brother Darren, that's look, Colonel Skinner or Deputy Commissioner Skinner and the rest of them, they are unimportant. They're not important at all.
Yes, sir.
To this whole matter.
Right.
What is important is the citizens of Baltimore.
That's right.
What is important is a system, a culture.
Right.
Now, the Skinners come and go. The commanders come and go. What I'm more impressed with is a system that's put in place. You know, right now we're picking commanders, and I don't see any standard that we're using.
Right.
Now, you know, one of the things I see is that we don't have any commanders training, and that training is very important. Many of our commanders now are learning on the fly. In other words, they're making mistakes out here because
so they're getting on-the-job training.
Right.
There is no commander training.
And if you look at many of them, you know, right now, a couple years ago, they were sergeants and patrolmen. Now they're in executive positions.
Right.
And anyone who worked in an executive position, you just can't go from the
Right.
bottom to the top
Yes, sir.
just like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a learning process. There's
Right.
executive thinking. You are in control of people's lives, the community, and putting programs and things out there. And to have this many changes, of course you're going to have instability.
Right.
You know, I don't have anything against Commissioner Batts. I've met him. I had conversations with him. Very intelligent man. Don't be mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Very intelligent. But this is not California.
That's right.
This is not California.
It's not Oakland and San Jose.
No, it's not.
Right.
And I
where
think
we
Frazier
saw
found that out.
we saw him do the same type of shakeups when he was heading up the departments in California as well. So please continue around
Right.
this issue, because I want to ask the question about now these top how they're top heavy in the Baltimore City Police Department with 7 colonels. That's another serious issue. And then the training of the graduates and the cadets and how they're not getting the proper training before they're being sent out on the streets.
You know, I don't know who your source is, Brother Muhammad, but,
yes, sir.
But it's tight, I can tell you that.
Oh, yes, sir. It's tight as Ziploc bag, brother.
It's very, very tight.
Yes, sir.
And but, you know, getting back to these commanders, because how the commanders go is how your troops go out there in the street.
That's right.
You know, if your commanders are not very well trained, then your troops are not going to be well trained.